for Malkinson, but there is a pattern, isn't there, of trying to see whether this fits into a box that is the Court of Appeal will agree with this, or rather than actually looking, from what you're saying, is you look at it as to whether this could be a miscarriage of justice. It looks slightly more process-driven about whether the Court of Appeal is going to run with this or not. That's how it might look to an outsider. Do you want to comment on that?
I guess, I think one of the challenges we have as an organisation is that we're quite restricted in what we can say. So a lot of our work may look process-driven. We can't get into the detail of the reasons quite often for why we have or haven't referred something. And that's something that bothers us because, what we do, it's serious work and it's complicated work and it's very difficult getting that message over there, getting that message out there. But that is our starting point, as Amanda has explained. It's unfortunate if others perceive it to be something other than that.
Thank you. And can I just bring you to the matter of DNA evidence and what kind of training is given to staff on DNA evidence, because evidently in 2009 there was DNA evidence that wasn't properly understood, and there were opportunities to get fuller DNA results. That was missed. So the CCRC's response to Chris Henley's recommendation said that forensic science and expert evidence advisor would be appointed. Is that advisor in position, and what training is given to staff?
Amanda?
So a couple of recommendations that Mr Henley made around that. He recommended annual DNA training for our staff. So we have this year, or late last year and this year, we've arranged 3 sessions from external providers to provide training on DNA evidence. We have appointed a forensic advisor. They're not in post yet. They're going through the pre-employment checks.
And what kind of turnover of staff do you have?
So relatively low amongst our casework staff.
About 3 times a year, or whatever you
So we've done 3 sessions this year. We will do ongoing training. So
everybody's trained already?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much indeed. And what other scientific expertise? You said you've changed the way that you operate. So how often do you employ forensic experts? How often do you employ specialists?
So we would employ forensic experts whenever the case requires it. So whenever there is a possibility that this is a case where there might be an opportunity for forensic evidence, we'll take advice from experts. And it's not just forensic science, that could be medical experts, that could be psychiatric evidence. What's
the trigger for that? Because clearly there's been a big problem, hasn't there, in the past, where if you're just... If no one recognises the importance of somebody who's in prison saying, I wasn't there, and you've got DNA evidence, clearly that we've got several cases, have we not, where that the person who's been convicted, their DNA evidence wasn't evident anywhere. There's nothing, but there are other, apparently male DNA on clothing or whatever. What triggers your caseworkers to go, ooh, I need an expert? I mean, they'll be calling them in all the time, I presume.
So it depends on the analysis of the case. Obviously, each case is different. DNA is a complex topic. It can be very significant in some cases, and it may have no part to play in others. So it's the decision to seek expert evidence is based on the analysis of the case. Now, clearly, that analysis was wrong in Mr Malkinson's case.
And others.
And we missed a key detail in that case. But we have now instituted the Forensic Opportunities Programme, really to look at 2 things. One is to look at whether there are other cases where we've missed opportunities to obtain forensic evidence, but also to revisit cases which perhaps we last looked at 10, 15, 20 years ago. Forensic science moves on. There may be opportunities in those cases that simply didn't exist last time we looked at it. So that programme is in operation now to revisit those cases, to identify forensic opportunities and to pursue those opportunities.
So what you're saying to me is the recommendation that Chris Henley made about all cases that related to the possibility where there was DNA opportunities that might need to be looked at again, that is in train because you have adopted all of his recommendations. That is happening.
So that programme of work had actually started before Mr Henley's recommendation. We'd done some initial work on that. We are focused initially, in order to make it manageable, on cases where the applicant was convicted of either rape or murder or attempts before the 1st of January 2016, so allowing for a margin of error for DNA 2017 to have come in. DNA 17, sorry. We are looking at those as our first cohort of cases, but we may then expand it to other offences. I'm not sure that Mr Henley appreciated the scale and the volume of cases that we dealt with, and the number that it might entail to look at every case where there are potential DNA opportunities.
But every case is a person.
Absolutely, absolutely. But as I say, we've started with the rape and murder cases first, and we can then move on to other cases once we've done those.
Thank you.